Good morning everyone. Today we're going to be talking about armors because I know a lot of you guys are a little bit confused on like what's the best weapon, what's the best armor, and it really depends on your personal playstyle. But in today's video we're just going to go over the entire list of different armor choices that you have, and so that you can make an informed decision on what armor you want to go to fit your personal playstyle. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to show you guys here is, of course, the list of all the different armors. So in PSO2, they call it units, even though, you know, it's just armor. So if I do say units, I simply just mean armors, okay? I will leave this link in the description below so that you can open this page and look at all the different armors for yourself. But the first thing I want to clarify is a lot of these armors you are not going to be using for a very long time. So I'm sure that a lot of you guys in Aelio are probably still using Keldie armors, Catalea armors, or Vialto armors because you simply got these from the combat zones as they drop in Rezel Forest, Mount Magnus, as well as Vanford Laboratory runes. So these are okay. Now for my viewers which watched yesterday's video, you may have noticed I actually attached a map which told you where to get all three of these armors because these actually drop from the red containers. So these three are the unique armors that you can get in Aelio. So they're very good as placeholder armors. However, please do not invest too much into any of these armors. You really don't want to enhance these and you really don't want to augment these. Just use them the way they are unless you need that little bit of extra battle power in order to continue on with the story, because once we get to the desert region, which is Retem, you will get new armors. So we're going to be skimming over these armors since you know, they're really just going to be used for a couple hours at most. Next up are the Vialto armors over here. I would skip all of them. They're not very good simply because they don't really give that great stats. So again, you can use it if you want as a placeholder, but I'm sure a lot of you guys have surpassed level 12. You guys are probably in like your level 30s, maybe level 40s, somewhere between that range. So these armors aren't going to serve that much of a purpose. Now the Gion armor is a very special armor because in order to get these armors, you have to fight gigantics. So I'm sure a lot of you guys may have noticed when you're wandering around in the open field, suddenly there's a thunderstorm or a sandstorm or a blizzard, depending on what region you're in, and suddenly there's this big purple monster and you try to hit it and you do 1 damage to it and it just kicks everyone's butt. That is called a Gigantics. Now when you get to max level, you will be able to hunt these Gigantics down in order to get these special armors, but the Gion armor is not something that you should be farming for because again, it's only level 15, so we're going to be skipping that. Now for the armors that you'll start seeing in Retem, which is the desert region. So there's the Vidal, Vajif, as well as Vios armors. So these drop in the different combat zones. These are okay again for a placeholder, but I wouldn't go too crazy on them. Personally, I would just stick with the red container armors over here. So there's the Vidalin as well as the Viocel armors. These armors are great as a placeholder again, because the Vidalin armor gives you 70 HP and the Viocel armor actually gives you 14 photon power. So this is extremely powerful when you combine these two armors together. However, again, I would not invest into these. I would simply use all of this as a placeholder. The Grius armor is similar to the Gion armor where they only drop from Gigantics. So again, this is a hard skip because it's only level 31. But enough talk of armors that are just going to be throwaways or stepping stones. Now we come to the part where these armors are worth investing in. So the first set of armor is the Schwarzest armors over here. So there are 3 different types. Again, there's the melee, which is red, the range, which is blue, as well as the technique, which is yellow. These armors are fairly strong. Yes, the level requirement is only 31. However, as you can see here on my end game character, I am still using these armors because of my augments. My augments are so powerful and I've invested so much into these armors that it's actually not worth me upgrading, because the DPS difference between this set of armor right now versus the level 60 armor is actually only a DPS increase of 2%. So it's not that big of a difference. So it's perfectly fine to stick with this armor. However, I want you guys to future-proof yourselves because next month we will get a level cap increase to 65, which means we are most likely going to get a new set of armor. So if you are planning to heavily invest into an armor, I would highly recommend using the Sestato Armor Arga, the Beltas, or the Shezas, simply because these armors give better stats. So we can see over here the Schwarzest armor gives me 25 HP, 3 PP, and 2% melee potency. While if we look at the Sestato Armor Arga, this actually gives me 30 HP, 4 PP, so that's 5 more HP and 1 more more photon power. It gives me 2.25% melee potency and range potency, and also gives me 30% physical resistance. So physical resistance is just immunity to stun. So if you do manage to get 100% of physical resistance, it means your character cannot be stunned. However, do keep in mind that physical resistance is not additive. So just because you have 3 pieces of the Sestato Armor Arga does not mean you will get 90% physical resistance. It works multiplicatively, so it's going to be like 50% or 60%, something along those lines, okay? Now the main reason why I encourage people to use the Sestato Armor Argas, Beltas, as well as Shezas is simply because you can actually obtain them from red containers in West Kavaris, North Kavaris, and Central Kavaris respectively. Again, I will leave the Discord link in the description below, which will actually show you where all these armors are, where those red boxes are specifically, so that you can go break them, gather them, and you will get a free copy of each armor, which is very, very useful. Because what you can do is you can equip the armor that you want, and you can sell the other 2 that you don't want on the marketplace to make Meseta in order to purchase another 2 copies of whatever armor set that you decided to use. Now, before you start spending your Meseta on the player market, I have a very important PSA over here. When you start searching for a Sestato over here, you want to make sure that you select the right one. So in my case, I want to go with the melee one, so that is the Arga. If you want range, it is Belta. If you want technique, it is Sheza. You do not want to buy the regular Sestato armor. So we're going to search up the Arga over here. And this is the part where a lot of people are going to get scammed. You need to be very, very careful here. You're going to notice there's a lot of Sestato Armor Argas without this augment over here. The ones out of the red boxes actually give you Decold Might. This is a very, very powerful augment because it gives you melee potency plus 2.5% as well as low temperature damage resistance. Some players will try to scam you by putting an augment over here which look the same. This is Decold Standard 3. This is not the same augment as Decold Might. As you can see here, Decold Standard 3 only gives you low temperature damage resistance plus 25%. It doesn't give you the melee potency plus 2.5%. So you have to be very, very careful when you're looking at these armors. Don't just buy the cheapest one thinking that, oh, you know, it's gonna be great. You know, someone's being really, really nice. A lot of people are going to be trying to scam you out of your hard-earned Meseta, so please take the time to look through all the different augments to make sure that it actually says Decold Might, Decold Precision, or Decold Technique, okay? Now you may have noticed when I click search by price, there's a bunch of them with no augments at 1,000 Meseta. In order to search for the ones with the augments, what you want to do is over here in category settings, it'll be unspecified in the beginning. We're going to select armor, and then number of augments, we're going to select 1. And here you'll see a list of all the different armors with 1 augment. But again, please, please, please be very careful. You want to look for the correct augment. So all you need to do is go to page 3 over here, click on the actual ability details, and just make sure that you're actually getting the melee weapon potency, range weapon potency, or technique weapon potency, depending on what armor you're getting, okay? So for the majority of players out there, I recommend that you go with the Sestato armors, simply because there are no negative stats, and it gives you quite a lot of weapon potency, which will allow you to build either a balanced build, or through augments you can make it tankier or more offensive. This is kind of the most balanced armor. However, as I said in yesterday's video, if you want to go a glass cannon build and you are very confident in your ability of not getting hit and you just want to dish out insane amounts of damage, then the Behlgren Armor is the one that you want to go for. Now keep in mind, you can mix and match because you can wear 3 pieces of armor. So you can put on 1 Behlgren and 2 Sestato armors if you want, and you can mix and match however you want. However, if you want to go pure glass cannon, you can go 3 pieces with the Behlgren armor. However, you will lose a metric butt ton of HP because for each piece you put on, you lose 40 HP. So with 3 pieces, you'll be losing 120 HP. However, the negatives don't end there. You will also get minus 50% for every single resistance. This includes freeze resistance, which is extremely detrimental in the Kavaris region because a lot of mobs here can freeze you. The moment you're frozen, you can't move, you can't cleanse yourself, you're a sitting duck until the freeze duration runs out. And if you do get hit while frozen, you will take damage. So it's very, very risky if you want to go full Behlgren armors, because if any of these elemental attacks hit you, you are pretty much screwed. But now to talk about the benefits. Why would anyone go with the Behlgren armor? Well, it's because you get plus 13 photon power, so it allows you to cast even more photon arts, even more damage, and it gives you 2.75% all potency. So that is for melee potency, for range potency, as well as technique potency. So if you just want one armor to fit all of the classes that you play, the Behlgren Armor is very good because it gives you all potency, while the Sestato Armors over here specialize in 2 different potencies. But if you just go with the regular Sestato Armor without the Arga, Belta, or Sheza, then you do get all potency, but it's only 1.5% versus 2.75. So, you know, obviously you want to go with 2.75, it's a lot stronger, but you are sacrificing a metric butt ton of HP as well as those resistances, so it is a double-sided sword. So in conclusion, any of these 4 armors are a great choice. I do recommend using the Sestato Armor series because these are simply the most balanced ones and they will age very well. Even if we do get new armors next month, you will still be able to stick with these armors as they provide a lot of value. Now for my glass cannon players, you can use 1 copy of the Behlgren Armor, or if you're feeling really risky, you can use 3 pieces of it. I really do not recommend using 3 pieces of the Behlgren Armor because you will be taking a lot of elemental damage, and the freeze one is really bad, especially if you're doing endgame content, because it just really sucks if you get frozen. So again, I do not recommend using 3 pieces. If you want to add like 1 or maybe 2 pieces, I think that's okay, but definitely not 3. Now some of you guys may be curious on, Kero, you're using the Schwarzest armor, why shouldn't I use this? And the reason for this is because I've been using the same armor for the past 6 months. I have not upgraded my armor because I invested heavily into these. I'm personally prepared to upgrade to new armors next month. If we do get a new set of armors with the level cap increase, I will be switching out my Schwarzest armor, which is why I do not recommend people to invest into these armors right now because they won't age well, especially if we do get new armors next month. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!
What can I say except you're welcome for the